Every incident, each experience, whether it was ecstatic or traumatic, is a learning opportunity. Recent events in Afghanistan also give us such an opportunity. So in this video, I will talk about the project management lessons we learned from Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan. We can apply these lessons to our projects, especially in the early stages of when the projects get into trouble. Hi, Daud Nasser here, project management coach and trainer with a video on project management lessons learned from last week's events that unfolded in Afghanistan. This is not a political video, so there is no right and wrong side for the purpose of this discussion. All I am doing is drawing some key learnings that give us action steps we can take if our projects ever fall into a crisis situation. It is not uncommon to see projects drop into a chaotic mode. All projects have some level of uncertainty built in. Even projects that are low risk, when something unexpected happens, these projects can create headache for the project managers as they move into a crisis situation. So I will share with you 8 compelling lessons learned from the Taliban takeover events. First and foremost, regular on-time communication is super important. We saw hordes of people dropping everything and running to the airport. I haven't heard of any communication directed towards the people living in Kabul. That lack of communication caused the panic. I have seen this happen on projects. Not enough communication can create a panic among the stakeholders. See, when we are involved with something emotionally, no news is not good news. We fall to the primal fear followed by distrust. So honest, regular communication is the key. In fact, keeping an open channel for continuous communication is the best. Provide updates to key stakeholders as soon as there is one. Increase the frequency of updates to all stakeholders. This leads us to the second lesson. Explain why certain actions are being taken. Developing trust and keeping trust is the key for damage control. As the situation unfolded, I saw too many comments on social media criticizing the US president for abandoning Afghani people. I'm not the judge here to say if the decision was right or wrong, but what struck me was the comment President Biden made. 1 more year or 5 more years of US military presence would not have made a difference. He gave a reason of why he is taking certain actions. Now, some may agree where others may disagree, but the thing here is that he provided some food for thought, and that is the learning. Sharing with stakeholders why you are taking some actions may not convince all, but it will keep a dialogue going, a discussion that can move them forward, instead of leaving them exposed to primal fear that leads them to come up with reasons on your behalf. Third, show empathy and higher emotional intelligence. Another thing that stood out for me was how both sides have shown empathy. President Biden expressing concern for the people's safety and Taliban stating that no revenge will be taken. We saw follow-up actions by both in next couple of days. Honestly, many people were expecting widespread bloodshed, but that didn't happen as far as I have noticed. Similarly, we saw the US plane with around 800 civilians taken out of Afghanistan. So leaving the politics aside, I saw how quickly this showing of high emotional intelligence dissipated many initial concerns. Fourth, do not ignore red flags. 2 days before Kabul fell, when Taliban were taking over multiple provinces in a day, an analyst on a news channel said something like, "At this pace, the Taliban will be in Kabul in 90 days. And I was wondering, that is a long time. What would take them this long? 2 days later, they were in Kabul. The pace was a red flag. It should have generated a response at the same pace, but it didn't. Everyone was caught by surprise because they ignored the red flag. So the lesson is that there will be red flags on your project. Do not ignore them. A project team needs to manage issues, but it is equally important to manage risks. And risks are red flags. These must be prioritized and responded to. Otherwise, when they hit, the crisis worsens. Fifth one is related to this one, that you cannot delay decisions. The decision by the plane crew and the leadership to let civilians on the plane is an excellent example of quick decision making. There is definitely a chance that the decision you make may not be the best, but the key here is to make the decision quickly to move on, then evaluate the situation, because lack of a decision will make things worse. On projects, you will have situations where a decision is needed on the spot. Evaluate information you have at that moment, make a swift decision, and then see how it is turning out, and then move to the next decision. Sixth, be realistic and stay optimistic. The worst thing we can do is deny that there is a crisis situation or a drastic change is occurring or imminent. This one kind of connects to the empathy piece, because when we set unrealistic expectations or state things that fall at the border of being lies, we lose trust. We disassociate ourselves from the stakeholders as someone living in an ivory tower who is completely oblivious to what's going on. This will result in disengaged stakeholders. Seventh, take care of optics. Do you know 80 to 90% communication is nonverbal? Check out this video. How powerful is it where a baby is handed over to complete strangers? Or this, where Taliban are reciting Quranic verses that asks to be humble and thankful when victorious. Both gave a powerful message to target groups. This is a good lesson when dealing with troubled projects. Ensure optics are good. Avoid situations which can give a wrong impression during a crisis, like coming in late to work or leaving early, or team going for team lunch, or responding late to emails or calls, or leaving equipment unattended. You got to be extra vigilant. Eighth, get resources, like US sent more troops to secure the airport. No one imagined this will happen, but since the situation changed, US made a quick decision and provided more resources. So when projects run into emergency situations, call all hands on deck. Tap into resources outside the project. Ask resource managers, sponsor, contractors, and others. Try to get hold of people, equipment, or any other resource that can help you deal with the situation. What do you think? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Bye for now.